This year's heat wave has brought record temperatures to the islands. Much of it was felt inside the state's sweltering classrooms, where most are without central air conditioning. Those high temperatures bring more than just discomfort for students. They can also be dangerous. HPR's Molly Solomon reports.
Kimberly Wing first noticed the heat at Kailipulu Elementary during back-to-school night. Her two daughters are in 3rd and 4th grade at the Kailua school.
It was evening, and I would estimate it was probably at least 85 degrees, if not hotter, in each one of their classrooms.
Wing is among several parents who have taken to a Facebook group called Cool Our Keiki to rally support for more air conditioning in Hawaii classrooms. Recently, she shared a photo of her 9-year-old daughter who had broken out with a heat rash across her face.
They have a hard time. They really do. They have a hard time just being there. And that's what I'm most concerned about, because there's just nowhere for them to go.
Like 90% of the state's public schools, Wing's daughters are in classrooms without campus-wide air conditioning. With temperatures reaching into the 90s, pediatrician Rachel Coel says that can be dangerous. The medical director at Queens Center for Sports Medicine says the record-breaking weather is especially taxing on vulnerable populations like young school children.
The younger crowd and the older crowd are the groups that we worry about most when we talk about environmental heat illness, and that's the heat illness we find people trapped in a hot environment, such as a classroom, a car, an apartment, where there may be only fans or lack of windows, lack of air conditioning.
Cole says it doesn't take long to overheat, especially in a sweltering classroom with little ventilation.
The classic symptoms often begin with a headache. They may become nauseous. It can then progress to things like difficulty with thinking, which is obviously very important in the young school-age children who may be affected, because this could really affect their scholarship.
And research shows it already is. That's according to Paul Aiken, a pediatric emergency doctor at Kapiolani Medical Center.
There's actually been some research on how extreme temperatures affect school performance. They show that temperatures even over 80 degrees will show decreased concentration and decreased performance on testing.
But Aiken and Cole both say it can be difficult to pinpoint exactly how hot is too hot for schools to remain open.
Because the actual temperature a body feels is not necessarily the temperature you're going to see on a thermometer. There's other factors that go into it.
Like humidity and wind speed from the trades.
So we have had sort of that unfortunate, cruel events where we've lost all three, right? We have the high temperature, we have very high humidity, and we've lost our trade winds. And so this is just sort of that perfect storm that can make classrooms really intolerable.
The Department of Education says it's working with the State Department of Health to provide safety guidelines to deal with this year's high temperatures. But parents like Kimberly Wing say more needs to be done for students.
If I were to walk into my child's classroom and it's like walking into a sauna, that's too hot. We need a more permanent solution to get that temperature down so these kids can concentrate.
Molly Solomon for HPR News.